June 1944. The beaches of Normandy are not yet called that, not yet sacred, not yet stories. They are just sand and salt, and 100,000 beating hearts learning what it means to land. The first waves arrive under a sound that could end every prayer ever said. Engines strain, waves fold, and men carry more than rifles. They carry letters, trinkets, medals, and in one pocket, a rosary made of wood, worn smooth by worry. It was sent from a kitchen table 2 weeks before the invasion. The handwriting on the envelope leaned to the right, confident, careful. It smelled faintly of candle wax and soap. The return address read only, S. Moreau, Calvados. The man who received it read it 3 times, not because it was long, it wasn't, but because every short word had weight. Dear Thomas, you once said prayer feels small in a storm. Perhaps it is, but small things are the ones that last. I made this rosary from Father's old cord. Each bead knows the shape of my thumb. It's not blessed, but you are. They say Normandy has beaches that shine like glass. When you stand there, remember that light travels both ways, what you see and what sees you back. If you lose it, don't look for it. It will know how to find its way home. Your sister, Sarah. The rosary fits his hand the way a habit fits time. He ties it to his wrist so it won't drift if he falls. The invasion is hours away, but the waiting is longer than the ocean. When dawn crawls up from the east, the world is made of noise, metal, orders, surf. He mouths the first line of a prayer, but the sea answers faster than faith. A man beside him vomits, another kisses a locket. Someone laughs too loud because he has run out of things to fear. The ramp falls. Time folds into inches. He steps forward and the water greets him colder than belief. In the chaos of the shore, the rosary breaks. One bead snaps free and disappears under the churn. He doesn't notice. He only feels lighter. The beach eats its dead and keeps their tokens. By afternoon, the sand has become a museum. Dog tags, helmets, letters half buried. The tide edits the story in real time. Thomas survives the landing. Not because he was braver, but because the bullet meant for him was distracted by distance. That night, in a field that once belonged to wheat, he finds his pack again, soaked, but intact. Inside, Sarah's letter, the cord, and 12 beads. He ties them again, out of order. Dear Thomas, they say prayers are stronger together. I don't believe that anymore. I think one honest prayer, whispered in mud, may reach farther than 1,000 recited in marble halls. Do not think of home as a place that waits. It moves with you. It has to, or else the world would fall apart. If you find a church, light a candle for both of us. If there's no church, light the sky with your silence. Love, S. He carries that silence through hedgerows and months. Normandy becomes a word for endurance. The rosary darkens with sweat and smoke. The cord smells of salt, rain, and one quiet memory of peace. By autumn, his unit has dwindled to names read aloud at dusk. Thomas stops writing, not because he forgets, but because every page feels too heavy for ink. He keeps Sarah's letters folded small, sealed with dirt instead of wax. In a ruined chapel near Caen, he finds a single wooden bench, half buried in rubble. He sits. The roof is gone, but the air still remembers what prayer sounds like. He threads the beads again, 13 this time. Somewhere, a bullet must have left one behind. Dear Thomas, our house still smells of rain even when it's dry. Mother says that's memory. I say it's proof that walls can hold on to weather. The children from town come by to ask about you. I tell them you're learning how to fix the world one small piece at a time. There was a storm last night. I stayed awake through it and counted the thunderclaps like we used to count church bells. You said once that courage isn't loud. I think you were right. Love, Sarah. The letter reaches him in September, though she wrote it in June. The war delays even love. He reads it under a torn blanket by candle stub, then sleeps with it under his head, because it smells like wax and home. He will never read another one. On August 19, 1944, Thomas Moreau disappears during the push toward Falaise. His unit marks him missing. Some say captured, others say buried by shellfire. War is not cruel because it kills. It's cruel because it leaves so much halfway alive. 2 weeks later, Sarah writes one last letter, never mailed. It stays in a drawer next to the spool of cord from which the rosary was made. Thomas, I dreamed you came home barefoot. You said the ground was warm and full of names. You carried no pack, only air. I want to believe that dreams are rehearsal for heaven, not reminders of what we lose. I have kept the second rosary I made, though I haven't finished it. There is one bead missing. Perhaps you have it. If I ever find it again, I will finish the prayer. Love, always, your sister. Years pass. The war grows quiet enough to fit into textbooks. The beaches of Normandy become lawns of memory. In 1954, during restoration of that same chapel near Caen, a worker finds a small wooden rosary, incomplete. 13 beads, frayed cord, sand, still trapped in the knots. The foreman cleans it, lays it on a table near the window. The afternoon light finds each bead like it remembers them. He hands it to a priest, who places it in a box labeled Personal Effects, Normandy Sector. No one ever claims it. Objects do not pray, but sometimes they remember the shape of those who did. The rosary sits now behind glass, a quiet exhibit in a museum visited by children who mistake it for jewelry. A plaque beneath it reads, Found in Caen, 1954. Owner unknown. But there's another label, handwritten on the back of the display. Each bead knows the shape of my thumb. Someone added that later, someone who had read the letters. Thomas, if prayer is a bridge, it must have two sides. I will stay on mine until you cross. The sea between us is not as wide as they say. It carries both sound and silence. I send both. S. If you stand on the cliffs above Normandy at dawn, you can still hear two kinds of wind, one that moves the grass and one that turns pages that aren't there anymore. Somewhere between them, a prayer continues, unfinished, but still traveling. If your family keeps a keepsake, a coin, a cross, a cord, remember this. Things do not need to survive whole to hold meaning. Sometimes the missing bead is the part that prays for you.